What is up, fight fans, and welcome back to another KJ MMA show. I am Ryan. He is the fight analyst, and this Saturday is UFC 278 coming live to you from Salt Lake City, Utah, and it is headlined by the second greatest welterweight of all time, Kamaru Usman, looking to defend his title against Leon Rocky Edwards. So obviously, we're going to start right there. Usman minus 360 favorite against Edwards, a plus 295 dog. And this rematch has been 7 years in the making. I feel both of these guys have evolved. When I look at the line, I think it's probably accurate. I wouldn't be mad if it was a little bit closer because I do feel like, Edwards is very well-rounded and legit. But from everything that I've seen, as I alluded to in the intro, Kamaru Usman, he the only welterweight I've ever seen that I feel like is still better than him is Georges St-Pierre. And that's debatable if you want to get into the technicalities of everything. But I fully expect Kamaru to go in there, do his thing, and retain the belt. What do you think about this one, Garrett? And is the line accurate?
It's about accurate. I think it, like you said, could be a little bit closer. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. I don't think, Kamaru is going to go in there and absolutely mop the floor with Leon. I think he probably takes at least 2 out of the 5 rounds. Going to be a very close fight, 49-48 either way. Leon has gotten better. But the thing is, he hasn't faced elite competition at all throughout his entire time on his winning streak. His best win was RDA a few fights ago, and RDA's back down at lightweight. That's his best win. I think in his entire career, might I add, where Kamaru's beaten everybody that's anybody in that welterweight division, he's beaten. And I don't think Leon Edwards is going to get the job done. After this, Kamaru Usman goes down as the greatest pound for pound great at 170 pounds. I think he ties Silva with the most title defenses, if I'm not mistaken, or something of the sort. No. He ties Silva with something.
I don't think it's title defenses because if I remember correctly, I mean, John Jones is number 1.
Okay.
GSP is 2.
I know he's tying Silva in some statistical category to the point where I believe he could go down as the greatest welterweight after this fight.
Regardless, it's GSP and Kamaru. There's no debate.
Yeah, there's no 1C after that. There's nothing. It's just those two and then whoever else after that.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to personal preference when you want to talk about eras and everything, but that's a discussion for a different day. To stay on the topic for this fight, this is the question for me with Leon Edwards. I don't think you're going to see him knocking out Kamaru, right? So or submitting him. So in order for him to win, he's got to go all 5 rounds and win a decision. That just seems too difficult for me when I look at how strong Usman is right now at 170. So it's kind of a no-brainer, but I said the same thing about Nunes Pena at 1, and I was dead wrong. So that's why they go in there and fight.
To piggyback off what you were saying in terms of him having to go the distance, we know that Leon Edwards tends to fade as the fight goes on, as we saw in the Nate Diaz fight. And this fight is going to be at altitude. And Leon Edwards is at sea level over in the UK. So I think that's going to play a massive toll on his cardio. That's really been a major factor in a lot of his fights as they go on. We'll see what happens, but ultimately I see Kamaru Usman taking a decision win or possibly a late finish.
And if Kamaru does win this, if Khamzat wins his next fight, is that what's next for him?
I'm about 1,000% sure that if both win, they're both next in line, to fight each other. I think Dana even said that. I'm almost certain he said that. It's 100% certainty that as long as they both win, they're probably going to face off each other, even though Kamaru wants to go up to 205, which is absurd.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's absurd, but I'd much rather see Khamzat take on Usman, though.
Yes, sign me up. That would be must-see TV. Well, let's move to the co-main event. Luke Rockhold making his return to action against Paulo Costa. Costa is a minus 360 favorite. Rockhold, the former champ, is a plus 295 dog. Man, Rockhold didn't make a whole lot of friends at the pre-fight press conference, did he? We'll see if he can go in there and back up a lot of his crap talk with his feet, with his hands, with his performance. The question I have for you, Garrett, is can he do it? Is this line accurate, or do you feel like Rockhold's going to get rocked once again?
I feel like he's going to get rocked once again. The UFC is not doing him any favors, putting him against the hardest hitter in the 185-pound division. Granted, Costa hasn't had a knockout in quite some time, but I think it's only a matter of time, especially going against somebody like Luke Rockhold, who has durability issues. He's on his last legs, as people would say. I don't think the UFC really wants him around much longer, especially all the shit that he's been talking, to the media and even about Dana White, for that matter. And Paulo Costa's still in his prime. The dude's absolutely shredded. He's in the best shape of his life. He's still faster than ever. You have to take it for granted that he went in there and took 2 rounds over Marvin Vettori when he wasn't in the best shape of his life. I mean, he was out of shape. I don't feel like he was taking that fight very seriously, and he still was able to take 2 rounds, even though one round was a point deduction. But he won that round essentially. So yeah, I think Costa should go in there and get the job done, probably early inside 1 or 2 rounds. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to take Rockhold at this stage of his career. You're talking about he hasn't fought in 3 years. He hasn't made 185 in 4.5 years. So, and he didn't really look good at, during talking to the media. I feel like he was very drawn out. He looked like the weight cut was taking its toll on him. Maybe that's why he was so crabby during the media days. It could play a major factor here. I'm taking Costa. I think he gets a knockout in round 1 or round 2. I think Costa in round 1 by TKO is plus 185. Costa in round 2 by TKO is plus 250. I would roll the dice and take any one of those. I highly, highly, highly doubt this fight goes to the 3rd round.
How long ago was the Bisping Rockhold fight? The second fight when Bisping knocked him out?
It was at least 5 to 6 years ago.
Yeah, so that's my point. And we saw the propensity that Rockhold has to get KO'd even back then, and your chin doesn't get better with age. Right. So I just feel like if I was Rockhold, I probably just would have stayed retired. I mean, I'm sure if he's been smart with his money and he's set for life. I don't like this one for him. I think he's going to get KO'd again. I'm with you. I like Costa. Let's move to Jose Aldo, Maraud Devashvili. Aldo is a plus 110 dog. Maraud is a minus 130 favorite. Man, this is such a close fight. And who doesn't love Jose Aldo? And he's having kind of a career resurgence here, down a weight class at 135. But Maraud Devashvili is so good, and I kind of feel like Maraud is going to get the win here. I don't expect him to finish Jose, but I think the minus 130 favorite tag is accurate. I think Maraud wins a decision.
Yeah, I do agree with that. It all comes down to whether or not he can take the punching power from Jose Aldo. He's still got power in his hands, even at his age. He's about 35 years old, and coming down to 135, the power has always been there. He's right at the top of the heap there. But what we saw in Maraud's last fight against Moraes, he can get clipped, he can get hurt, and he's got a big ass head, so it's a big target. It's a big target. And we saw Aldo drop Rafa numerous times in his last fight, but you also saw that Aldo was losing every minute of every round against Rafa because he's not going to outpace his opponents. He's not going to out-volume them. He's not going to be able to just outstrike them either. And that's where Maraud comes in. He definitely has better cardio. He's got better pace. And he's definitely going to be throwing more, and he's going to be attempting more takedowns. And we've seen Aldo tend to fade as fights go on, especially in the Piotr Jan fight. And that was kind of like a slow-paced fight, and he faded in round 4. Whereas Maraud's just he's going to come full force, and if he doesn't crack him, he's going to have to keep defending takedowns, getting back up, defending takedowns, and try to catch Maraud as he's coming in. So the way I'm betting is, if I'm betting Aldo, I would take him by knockout at plus 450, because I feel like if it goes to a decision, there's no way he's beating Maraud, because at the end of the day, Maraud in his career is 10-3 when it goes to distance. Technically, he should be 12-2, because the Ricky Simone fight went the distance, and then he got kind of screwed out of that. He would have won that. And Frankie Science fight, he completely got screwed out of that. So technically, in his career, he should be 12-2 when it goes the distance, and he's I believe 7-1 in the UFC on decisions. So I would take Maraud by decision at plus 160, or Aldo by knockout at plus 450.
All right, let's move to the biggest favorite on the card. Tyson Pedro, minus 730 favorite against Harry Hunsucker, a plus 530 dog. Does Harry Hunsucker have a chance in this fight, or is this Tyson Pedro all day?
Death, taxes, and Harry Hunsucker gets knocked the fuck out in round 1. That's pretty much it, because this man gets knocked the fuck out in round 1 like it's nobody's business. And here's another round 1 knockout incoming by Tyson Pedro.
Okay, I'm with you there. So not much to say about that fight. Yanan Wu and Lucy Pudilova. Pudilova is a minus 120 favorite. Yanan Wu is a plus 100 dog. Fairly close odds here. How do you see this one going, Garrett?
I honestly would not bet on this fight, but if I had to choose, I'd probably take Lucy. I think she's in better form right now. Wu, I think she's 1-4 in her last 5. She's lost her last 2 in a row or 3 in a row. This is pretty much the last hurrah for Wu. She does get the job done. They brought in Pudilova back because she's 4-1 in her last 5. She's somebody that's going to put on action. She's going to come forward. She's going to throw some nasty elbows in the clinch. She puts on exciting fights, something Wu does not do. I feel like Pudilova's going to come forward. She's going to land the harder shots and get the decision win.
Alexander Romanov and Marcin Tybura. Romanov is a minus 345 favorite. Tybura a plus 285 dog. But, with these heavyweights, all it takes is one mistake with the power that both of these guys have. You just never know. But I think on paper, Romanov should win this fight. Are you with me?
Have you seen pictures of Romanov lately?
I think so.
Did you because I've seen him signing posters, and this man does not look like a heavyweight. He honestly looks like the smallest heavyweight on the roster right now. We're talking even smaller than Almeida. He has shrunk down completely. Granted, he's not small. I mean, smaller than where he was because he dropped about 30 plus pounds, and he's now fighting around 230 pounds to 230 to 235 pounds. He's in incredible shape, but now he gave up a ton of size for, I guess, to compensate for his cardio woes in the Juan Espino fight. Since then, now he's fighting at 236. So now he's giving up height against Tybura, and he's giving up size and weight against Tybura. And Tybura is already a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's well-versed in grappling. And now you're giving up that added size. That would make you so much more dangerous when you were at 266. Because you're so much bigger, you're so much stronger, your takedowns are going to be more about technique than they are going to be about brute strength. And now this fight is going to be at elevation, and he's going to have to use brute strength at 230 to 235 pounds. I think he's going to exert all of his energy early. Maybe he gets to take down round one, but I don't think he finishes it. Come round two and round three, I think Tybura takes over, possibly finishes him late. So I would kind of wait to see if Tybura is still there after round one, and then live bet Tybura. You might even get him at plus 500, honestly.
Wow. Okay. Well, that would be a big upset. So if you're with Garrett on this one, you can make a lot of money on the plus 285 underdog, Marcin Tybura. Let's move to Jared Gordon and Leo Santos. Gordon, a minus 265 favorite. Santos plus 225 dog. It must be nice for Jared to be back in the octagon fighting legitimately rather than having to take people down on the streets, I swear. But he seems to be looking very good as far as his professional career goes right now. I like Jared Gordon. I think the move to Sanford MMA or Killcliff LLC has been a good one for him. I expect Jared Gordon to get a decision victory here. I don't think he's going to get him out of there, but I do like Jared Gordon for the win.
I really like the under 2.5 rounds in this fight. I feel like someone's getting finished. It's at plus 105 to plus 110, if I'm not mistaken. Gordon can finish Santos. I mean, Santos got finished his last two fights. No one gets finished by Khalid Guida in the year 2021 or 2022. You just don't. He got finished by Khalid Guida. So I definitely think that Gordon could get a finish in this fight, especially as the fight progresses and gets later on, because like I said, this fight's at elevation. So it's going to be super high in the altitude. Santos already gasses as it is. So I feel like he's going to gas even more. And he's going to get finished inside the distance. Or, on the flip side, Santos can easily knock out Gordon early. Because Gordon, at lightweight in the UFC, he's 3-4. In all four of his losses have come inside the distance, 3 by knockout. And one of the fights was against Joaquin Silva, and he was winning the entire fight until he got cracked in the third round. So he does have durability issues at 155, and Santos packs a lot of punching power. So I could see Santos possibly getting a win inside the distance, which is at plus 500. Or you can even take Gordon inside the distance, which I think is around plus 200 as well. Or the under 2.5 rounds at plus 105, which is my favorite bet. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to take the fight that doesn't go the distance at plus 105. I think that's even better because you give yourself an extra 2 minutes and 49 seconds to possibly get a finish. So yeah, fight doesn't go the distance. I like the under 2.5 rounds too, which is at plus 130. I like either one of these guys to get a finish. Someone's going down here, guys. There's a lot of violence in this fight.
Okay, listen to the fight analyst. He's here to make you some money. Let's move to my guys, Sean Woodson and Luis Saldana. Woodson, a minus 340 favorite. Saldana, a plus 280 dog. It is just so hard at 145 to deal with the length of Sean Woodson. This guy is 6'3". He has go-go gadget arms. He just continues to look better and better each time inside of the octagon. I don't expect this to be any different. Give me Sean Woodson all day.
I have Sean Woodson to win, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit more competitive than the line is suggesting. Sean Woodson doesn't have a lot of punching power, so he's more about volume, sticking and moving, stay on the outside, using his 5-inch reach advantage that he has. Saldana is actually one of the taller fighters that he's had to face. He's 5'11". He doesn't have a 9-inch reach advantage that he does over some of the shorter guys, but he has a 5-inch reach advantage. But what Saldana has in his back pocket is better grappling than Woodson does. He can take him down, he can control him a bit, wear on him, and as the fight goes on, if Saldana's cardio is still intact, he could possibly squeak out a decision win. I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't play Woodson at this line. I think it's too wide. I think it's going to be super competitive. But ultimately, I like the over 2.5 rounds in this fight, though, as a play.
Okay. Miranda Maverick, a big favorite, minus 600 against Shanna Young, a plus 450 dog. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot to say about this fight. I imagine you're with me. I like Miranda Maverick to win this one. I think it's just a matter of how deep the fight goes.
I mean, I have Miranda Maverick winning, but the way the line is set up is she's minus 600. It's just ridiculous. Obviously, you're never going to bet any women's MMA fighter. As we've seen, Amanda Nunes lost as a massive favorite. You're not going to bet low-level women's MMA fighters at minus 600. You just don't do it. I would not bet on this fight whatsoever, but Miranda Maverick should beat Shanna Young, considering she's already beaten her before. I think it was only one round, though. I think it was only an exhibition fight, but she at least won that round. My only worry is Shanna Young is definitely a lot bigger than Miranda Maverick, like a lot bigger. She's about 4 inches taller, same reach, but she's just bigger. She used to fight at 135. Now she's back down to flyweight, and she handled Gina Mazzani's grappling and was able to take her down and beat her up. So I wouldn't put it past her doing that here, but ultimately I have Maverick getting the job done.
AJ Fletcher and Ange Lusa. Fletcher is a minus 155 favorite. Lusa plus 135 dog. How do you see this one going?
I'm taking the dog here in Ange Lusa. I think he's got the skills. I think he's a better striker of the two. He's more fluid on the feet. He's got better movement, better head movement. He's got punching power. He's got a 7-inch reach advantage as well. He's got good takedown defense. Trains at a good camp in Killcliff FC. He even almost finished Jack Della Maddalena in the Contender Series via arm triangle. But most people would tap there. But Jack, on the other hand, was just kind of sitting in there waiting for Lusa to gas himself out. And that's what happened after round one. Fletcher, on the other hand, he's got some good grappling, got some good power. He had a flying knee knockout in the Contender Series. He's a good prospect. I think they're both good prospects. But we're going to see Fletcher shoot for takedowns, not be successful, and I see Lusa just outstriking him on the feet to a wide decision.
Amir Albazi, minus 435 favor against Francisco Figueiredo, a plus 350 dog. What's a smart play here, Garrett?
Albazi by decision, probably. I don't think Lil Figgy is going to be easy to get finished. I think he's got a good chin, he's got good jiu-jitsu, but Albazi should be just better than him arguably everywhere. Be able to mix things up better, stay fluid on the feet, not get cracked. But yeah, I'm taking Albazi to win via decision.
Orichi Long and Jay Perrin. Orichi Long is a minus 140 favorite. Jay the Joker Perrin, a plus 120 dog. I got to be honest, I try and stay objective, but I do like Jay Perrin. I've never interviewed Orichi Long, so I'm kind of pulling for Jay Perrin here. Can he pull the small upset, or is the smart money on Orichi Long?
At first, I really wanted to take Jay Perrin just because of his, his grappling background, who he's been, training with Maraud and Aljamain Sterling and all those guys over at Syndicate. But I just don't think his grappling is going to be enough for him to keep this fight to the mat. He tends to, lose in scrambles. Richie Long has shown that he's good in scrambles and being able to get back to his feet, using the wizards, using the underhooks, did that against Cody Durden. I know Cody Durden's a lot smaller than Jay Perrin, but, also Jay Perrin is not going to be able to just go in there and just grapple heavy right off the bat because of the fact that it's at elevation. It's in altitude. He's going to gas himself out super early. And Orichi Long is definitely the better striker of the two. He's got a nasty jab. He's got really good head movement, nasty power, some great hooks to the body. He knocked out Cameron Nels basically with a body shot. It was a thing of beauty. So basically it comes down to Perrin taking him down and controlling him for 3 rounds, or he's getting pieced up on the feet by Orichi Long. So I'm going to take Orichi Long here at minus 140.
All right, Victor Altamirano, minus 165 favorite against Daniel Da Silva, a plus 140 dog. What is the smart bet here, Garrett?
If you have under 2.5 rounds, go with that. Or maybe Victor Altamirano inside the distance. I think it's like plus 160 around there. Daniel Da Silva, he's very dangerous early. So maybe if you think he's going to win, take him in round 1. Because after round 1, he has a crazy cardio dump. He also has really bad fight IQ on top of that. So he's just one fighter I would never lay my money on. And at least with Victor Altamirano, he's won in fights that he shouldn't have. That kind of puts a feather in my cap when you're kind of betting on somebody. The judges kind of tend to favor him a little bit. He's had 2 split decision fights. He won one, lost one. That means at least 3 judges gave him the fight in his last 2 fights. So I think they kind of like his style, and I don't expect De Silva to be able to make it to the judges anyways.
All right. Well, that does it. I mean, another great KJ MMA show. But that's going to do it. Enjoy UFC 278 this Saturday from Salt Lake City, Utah.